This game is an interesting one to try and pull apart. It's a unique experience. I must admit the style and the design of this game being a Metroidvania with stealth elements is quite unique. It's not something that comes along very often, if ever, really. Although it doesn't feel like a Metroidvania from a combat sense. It's more of a Metroidvania purely on exploration. So the character that you play as, the Sandfox, who's off on their journey, essentially get redemption on the fact that they have been killed. And the king in this particular land has been killed as well. So you get dropped down a chute, essentially. You pick yourself up and you go off on your journey to try and uncover the secrets of this princess who's killed you, who's betrayed you, and all this while there's this war that's going on outside the city gates. You explore the city, uncovering all its different secrets and different tools and abilities that you then use to progress the rest of the game. And a lot of the tools are quite unique, to say the least. So they're all ways of kind of traversing the world. There's no double jump. You don't have anything that's necessarily going to be giving you superpowers in any means. They are tools that are either the ability to unlock doors or slam through barricaded platforms or the ability to climb on railings or even just climbing up vertically, essentially. So there's a lot of these mechanics that you're kind of unlocking through the game, which it gives you more variety of traversing the environment and getting behind enemies or avoiding enemy contact. Because, of course, this being a stealth game, there is no combat. You have the ability to knock out enemies when you get behind them, if you can get behind them. Obviously, you don't want to be running because you will make sound. You will make sounds even if you're trying to unlock a door and you do it incorrectly. So everything is geared towards you avoiding conflict at any cost in order to get to your location or get to your next destination. The general kind of flow of the map, for the most part, for me personally, doesn't flow as well as I'd like. There's a bit later on in the game that is kind of more of a rinse and repeat scenario, and it forces you to obviously get through some older areas that you've already been through in order to unlock further progression or at least complete the rest of the game. And along with that, a lot of the collectibles are very basic. They're more story driven or world building than they are anything else. The quest structure, the way the game kind of pulls you through from mission to mission, is neat. I think the story elements come together really nicely, and the conclusion is well told. It's very rewarding. It actually kind of took me by surprise. I was not expecting the ending to play out the way it did. So the journey for the Sandfox is very much worth experiencing. Is this worth a damn? It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for your more traditional Metroidvania, I would personally give it a miss. It isn't. I don't think that there is much in the way of rewarding platforming or rewarding gameplay that you would probably get in, say, a Castlevania or a Metroid or even something like Ori and the Blind Forest, where a lot of those games have a good mixture of platforming, combat. You have a sense of progression for the character as opposed to just having abilities. You actually feel like you're growing your character and strengthening your character and have more mechanics around that. That said, there are moments in this game that have really cool, intricate platforming and some really fun moments. It's just held back by a few minor kind of design choices that make it a lot more. It requires a very accurate level of platforming. There are times where you might be jumping from a post that you can grab onto to then jump to another post, and your character just happens to either go too far or doesn't quite latch on. There are glitches that I've encountered where you will typically need to jump on these wind vents that shoot you up. And if you don't get the exact platforming, or if you don't hit the exact kind of spacing where the vents, where the wind gushes are, or the wind tunnels are, you will just miss and you will just fall straight through. There was a bit later in the game where I think because of one of the abilities I unlocked, I wasn't even able to even interact with those wind tunnels unless I used the specific new ability that I had. So there's some patches that need to come out. There is a second collectible that turns out is not meant to be a collectible. It's associated with your quests and how far along you've progressed. That is currently glitched at the time that I finished the game. So hopefully that gets looked at. The stealth encounters, they're okay. And again, this is something that for me is emblematic of the fact that for this style of game, it's not bad, but if I compare it to games like Mark of the Ninja, for instance, I think did stealth a hell of a lot better to memory. And there's a lot of other games that I think tackle this style or the stealth mechanics in a much cleaner way. It has fun moments. It's not to disregard the fact that there are some cool little encounters that you will potentially, you'll be running through and you're trying to avoid being seen, and you'll have fun ways to kind of navigate around the enemies, or sometimes you won't have the opportunity to navigate around them, so you need to kind of lure them out, be chased, jump on a post to get over them without getting hit or without getting taken out. And these are all really fun moments, but I don't think that they are well strung together with the rest of the flow of the game and the way some of the levels are structured. There's a lot of moments where you'll be kind of lost in a space, and it almost feels like the space is too big for what direction the game kind of wants you to go anyway. So it just feels like it's a wasted architecture for you to explore. But when you get those tight moments of platforming, when you get the mix between all the abilities and the platforming that you need to perform with some of the timing that the game puts you through, it does come together nicely. It's just unfortunate that there isn't enough of those sprinkled throughout the game. So, yeah, is it worth a damn? Honestly, I don't regret the $20 I've spent on the game. I think for the price that the developer is asking, it's a reasonable price to try something like this, and it won't take you more than a weekend or two to kind of go through it. It's not a long game. You'll do it in about 8 to 10 hours, depending on how much exploration you're doing. It might take you up to 15. The overall experience is an interesting one, and I think it's worth it for the kind of price point. But that really comes down to you whether it's worth your time more than your money. It's a tricky one. It falls flat in a couple of areas. I was impressed with the story. I was impressed with the world building. Some of the platforming moments, there were some fun bits. It is hindered by some serious glitches, which are annoying. Like there's a few moments where you'll have enemy encounters and you don't know whether the enemies are meant to attack you or not, but they just stand there and they just watch you. Yeah, there is still some work to be done in its current state. Keep that in mind. If you're happy to forgive it for some of those shortcomings, it is a beautiful little game. It's a beautiful little independent game. The team have put a lot of heart and soul into it. They put some interesting ideas here, and I hope that they learn from this game and maybe reiterate some of this design and kind of touch it up if they choose to do a sequel. Because there are moments in this that I just get the sensation of feeling like I'm playing a 2D Prince of Persia. And when those moments hit, they hit hard and they hit really well. And then other times it just kind of falls by the wayside by average level design that really doesn't give much in the way of variety or intrigue or novelty. There isn't much of a novelty to some of the areas that you go through. There's like one mechanic that I still couldn't figure out, and I wasn't sure what the hell it was about. But you had pigeons on rooftops, and it might have been associated with a quest. I probably missed a particular quest giver, but these birds, couldn't do anything with them. There was an interactable prompt, but there was nothing there. So yeah, I think it's worth a damn for the price. I think it's worth a damn if you're interested in a stealth Metroidvania, provided you are aware that it is still buggy and that it's not necessarily going to be as varied in its level design as what it could have potentially be. Check it out. See what you think. You can watch my gameplay, which I've got 10 videos up. And yeah, if you like the video, like and subscribe. Give me feedback, please. I'm always open to any feedback.